Check out FlipsideGaming.com for all your gaming needs. Use the promo code HEROES to save 10% on all orders over $10. From now through May 6th, if you use that promo code, you will automatically be entered into a drawing to win a War of the Spark booster box. See the description below for details. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and the Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. We had another week of War of the Spark previews. There's definitely some impacts on card prices. We'll be talking about that throughout the video today. But as always, we're going to check in on all aspects of the secondary market. Without any further ado, let's get into it. We're going to begin, as we always do, with the top 5 standard legal cards that have lost value this week. Number 5, Vivian Reed, goes down $1.34 to $19.99. This is a card that was very popular this last season in Sultai midrange and Selesnya tokens builds, among others. Even in Modern now, you'll find this sometimes in Mono Green midrange and Selesnya land destruction. But we are in that in-between period now for standard seasons, and people don't want to spend a lot of money on a particular single until they know what's going to happen with the meta, so some of the more expensive cards are cooling off now. Number 4, another example of that is Hydroid Krasis, down $1.81 to $24. Much like the previous card, this saw a lot of play last season, Sultai midrange again, Simic Reclamation. This has seen Modern play too in some decks, including Temur, Tooth and Nail. In Legacy, this can show up in a Food Chain deck sometimes. Number 3 is Rekindling Phoenix, down $1.90 to $14.34. And this has been another popular standard card for a long time. You can still find it in decks like Roll Midrange, Temur Reclamation, among others. And it has seen a tad bit of Modern play. Once in a while, you'll find this in a Gruul Land Destruction deck. But the thing to remember about this card is not only are we in between standard seasons, but also this rotates out in the fall. So some players are going to try to gravitate away from a card like this and try to play decks that aren't running as many cards that will see rotation in the fall. Also, the Challenger decks came out this week, and there was one copy of this found in the Lightning Aggro deck, which means more copies are entering the marketplace. Number 2, Arclight Phoenix, goes down $2.02 to $22.79. You can see the trend here. Another expensive card that's a little bit soft right now, but still sees tons of play. Is it Phoenix in Standard? In Modern and Legacy, even, this card is very successful in a variety of different Phoenix decks. Much like the previous card, though, there was a copy of this in one of the Challenger decks. That is the Arcane Tempo deck. Number 1, Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, goes down $2.26 to $39.99. Another card that's very successful, not just in Standard Control, but Modern Control sees a little Legacy play too. But an expensive card that a lot of players will shy away from until they see what is happening with this next Standard meta. Alright, let's move on to the top 5 standard legal cards that have gained value this week. And first we have an honorable mention, though. It is Stomping Ground from Guild Pack. This goes up 73 cents to $21.95. It is not a new card, but technically standard legal because of the recent reprinting. Now, this is a very, very popular card right now when it comes to mana bases in Standard. Gruul Midrange, Temur Reclamation, 2 really big decks. Also, you'll find this in many Modern builds. Number 5 is Crucible of Worlds. Magic 2019 goes up 64 cents to $15.54. 10th edition goes up 74 cents to $18.99. So first off, we know this card hasn't seen a lot of standard play, but in Modern, it's in a lot of important decks like Tron. You'll find this in 4-color Prison. Legacy Lands decks will run this, among many others. However, the reason it is going up a little bit this week is because of some of the preview cards we saw. There are some cards in this set that definitely focus on lands. We have Evolution Sage and Living Twister that could potentially play well with Crucible of Worlds. Also, some people are thinking of brewing these cards with Scape Shift. More on that in just a few moments. Number 4 is Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, up 71 cents to $19.90. Now, this card has seen some success in Standard in the past. However, it hasn't done a whole lot recently. But that could change. There has been a leak of a Nicol Bolas Planeswalker, which hasn't officially been revealed yet, and that came out a couple weeks ago, so if you're trying to avoid leaks, I won't show it to you today. But it has some people thinking maybe Grixis Control or Grixis Midrange could be a thing in the next meta. There's also another card that was introduced this week that could also help Nicol Bolas get a little bit better. And that is Ilharg the Raise Boar, and being able to play this and then attack in with it, throw Nicol Bolas on the battlefield, make your opponents discard a card, return them to your hand, do it again later. There's a certain appeal to that. Number 3, Scape Shift from Magic 2019 goes up 97 cents this week to $8.93. This has been undervalued for a long time. We know what this card can do in Modern and decks like Titan Shift among some other variants. However, This is heating up again because of some of the things we saw this week. We already talked about there are some cards that came out that do care about lands or interact well with lands. Here are a few more cards that may work well in decks with Scapeshift. Nissa Who Shakes the World, Nissa's Triumph, and Mobilized District. Number 2, Smothering Tithe. This goes up another $1.46 this week to $10.82. This card has gotten red hot, and it was only a matter of time. This has become a Commander staple. Basically, if you're playing white in Commander, you're probably playing a copy of this card at this point, and it has gotten multiple mentions on the Command Zone podcast. Number 1, Kaya Orzhov Usurper goes up $4.63 to $17.88. We talked last week about how popular this card was getting, and I'm not just talking about Esper Control and Standard, it does see play there, but a lot of modern decks are adopting this. Eldrazi Taxes, Abzan, Lantern Control, and more. Okay, let's move on to Modern with the top 5 Modern legal cards that have lost value this week. You're going to see a lot of cards here that have been hot recently, and they're normalizing a little bit now. Number 5 is Living End, goes down $2.73 to $32.25. Perfect example. This card got really hot as people have been tweaking those As Foretold Living End decks by adding Electro Dominance in Modern, and they've been putting up some okay results here or there. We'll have to see what happens. Even recently, there's some new cards revealed that could interact well with this. Dreadhorde Arcanist is one, and Finale of Promise. Number 4 is Send Triplets, down $3.21 to $31.06. Very popular Commander card that has been hot recently, just having a normalization week now. Number 3, Mycosynth Lattice from Darksteel goes down $3.61 to $29. This card spiked tremendously last week, and now it is normalizing. The big reason behind the spike, or at least one of the main ones, was Karn the Creator's leak and then subsequent preview. Number 2 is Sliver Legion, down $5.42 to $67.98. Another card that has been wildly popular as a lot of people have been trying to pick up these Sliver Lords. We're just seeing a little retraction this week. Number 1 is Dark Confidant from Modern Masters 2015, down $7.20 to $78.09. All of the Bobs have been spiking aggressively recently. This one has a big normalization week, though, as they're trying to line up and all kind of fall into their proper price points. Now, this is an awesome card. I say it every week, but you're going to find this in Golgari Midrange in Modern, as well as Jund. Over in Legacy, you'll find this in 4-color Loam and Golgari Depths, among other decks, of course, too. All right, let's move on to the top 10. Yep, we're doing 10 again because the market is still crazy. Top 10 modern legal cards that have gained value this week. Again, you're going to see a mixture here of cards that are moving due to modern play as well as Commander play. I do have an honorable mention first, though, and that's Vesuva going up $3.63 to $35.50. Very good in Amulet Titan, which is a popular deck right now. You can also find this in Legacy Eldrazi Post decks, too. Number 10 is Gemstone Caverns, going up $3.64 to $44. So you'll find this one in Eldrazi builds, Freewind Red, Mono Blue Tron, and many other modern decks right now. But it's also a good card to keep an eye on, because if the London Mulligan does get adopted in the end, this card does stand to get a little bit better. Number 9 is Mirror Wing Dragon, going up $4.10 to $4.97. Okay, there was one card that came out this week that really captured everybody's imagination. That card caused this card to move. It was previewed originally by the Command Zone, and in their video, not only did they preview the card, but they talked about a lot of potential combos with the card in Commander. Many of those cards have spiked this week, but even other cards that they didn't discuss have also spiked just because so many people want to try to build around this card. Now, aside from Commander, there is a chance that you might see some modern or standard builds with this card too, but the card I'm talking about is Feather the Redeemed. If you haven't heard about Feather yet, check this card out. It is amazing, and we will be referring to this card throughout the video, so stay tuned for more. Number 8, though, is Dark Confidant from Modern Masters, up $4.37 to $75.85. So we saw one going down, this one's going up. Number 7 is Darksteel Forge, 2 copies to discuss today. Darksteel going up $2.10 to $22.90, Plane Chase going up $4.98 to $25.53. This card remains hot, and it's because there's a lot of attention right now on those colorless Commander decks. Number 6 is Chalice of the Void, Modern Masters, goes up $4.60 to $64.99. Mirrodin goes up $4.90 to also $64.99. This card has been wildly popular. I do think it's going to go up in value more before it finally stabilizes a little bit. And you're going to find this in various decks right now that are doing well. 4-color Prison, Eldrazi builds of all kinds, other modern, Legacy, and Vintage builds too, even though it is restricted in Vintage. Number 5, Balduvian Rage goes up 527 to 625, and we have reached Feather Country now. 4 of our top 5 cards are moving because of Feather. This is one of them. Number 4, more Feather action here. Aurelius Fury going up 576 to 679. Number 3, Sunforger, and you guessed it, moving mostly because of Feather, although this is a great Commander card. Modern Masters 2015 goes up 711 to 849. Commander 2016 goes up 727 to 849 as well, and Ravnica City of Guilds goes up 773 to $9. Number 2, Blightsteel Colossus goes up 888 to $82, another card that has been popular recently due to those colorless Commander decks. Also, with the new set coming, some people might be thinking about infect counters, but honestly, if you have this on the battlefield, you probably don't need to proliferate very much. Number 1, Monastery Mentor, up 1023 to 1999. Of course, this card has seen play in competitive formats. However, this week it's moving because of Feather. Time for our Vintage Spotlight. This is where we look at cards that are played in Legacy, Vintage, 93, 94, and also cards that are important to collectors. First, we have Brain Geyser from Unlimited. If you've been watching the channel, you know how popular Unlimited cards have become recently. This one goes up 1502 to 102.48. It is on the reserve list, but it did get a reprinting and revised. Next is Force of Will from Eternal Masters. Great Legacy and Vintage card, goes up 1710 to 145.99. This is another card that has been extremely hot recently. Some of it has to do with speculation. There are people that feel like we might see this reprinted in Modern Horizons, and if that's the case, it becomes modern legal. Will that happen? I'm a little doubtful, but some people are trying to pick up extra copies of the card just in case. Although, remember, if it is in Modern Horizons, a lot of copies are also going to be entering the marketplace, so it is a very shaky speculation. Mountain from Arabian Nights is next, and this is just a weird oddity that a lot of people like because this is the only basic land in the set. It goes up 1842 to 149.97. City of Brass from Arabian Nights. A lot of Arabian Nights cards are getting hot again, it seems. This one is going up 28.31 to 351.99. Obviously, this has been reprinted many times. If you just want to play with the card, there are much cheaper copies out there. Scrubland from Unlimited. This is on the reserve list, but it did get a reprinting and revised, of course, up $39 to $353.73 this week. Chaos Orb from Unlimited, also on the reserve list, goes up $119.99 to $950.99. So there were some high-grade copies out there on the marketplace this week, which is bumping the price up a little bit. I did see one really high listing, although it wasn't super exaggerated. I don't think it's really market manipulation intentionally. It might be someone just trying to put a higher price copy out there and hoping to get an offer. Underground Sea from Unlimited. This is also on the reserve list, but was reprinted and revised, up $256.37 this week to $1,799.97. This is moving because, again, we do have a lot of high-grade copies on the marketplace this week. In fact, there is a graded copy at a very high grade out there. All of that's just pushing the price point up a little bit. More reserve list Unlimited with Mox Pearl going up $512.52 to $3,025. And same story here, you just got some high-grade copies out there this week. And finally, same with Time Twister. This is from Unlimited as well and on the reserve list. Up $658.06 to $3,810.12. Okay, time for our giant Commander Spotlight. It feels like it gets bigger every week. So I'm going to go quickly through this. I'm not going to necessarily give every single reason why the card is going up in value. I'm just going to try to hit you with the highlights and go fast. So here we go. Trench Gorger from Commander up $1 to $5.33. This is a card that's moving because of a couple of recent previews, Jace Wielder of Mysteries as well as Bolas's Citadel. Eerie Interlude goes up $1.02 to $1.88, and this one is moving because of our friend Feather again. Arena Rector, of course, with all the new Planeswalkers coming, this card has been very popular. It goes up $1.04 to $22.99 this week. Ragnar, I like to point out whenever the Gold Legends reserve list cards go up in value, this one's not going up too much, but still affordable, up $1.06 to $30.61. Teferi's Protection up $1.09 to $46.26. This card feels like it's on our list every week. It is a Commander staple for sure at this point, and it gets a lot of mentions again on the Command Zone. Another Feather card here, Pyromancer's Goggles, goes up $1.12 to $5.99. Prismatic Omen goes up $1.12 to $26.12. I haven't said it yet this video, and I don't think I said it last week, but remember, cards that came out around this time period had a lower print run comparatively to other modern era Magic cards. These Shadowmoor rares do tend to get a little bit spiky sometimes. And this one is going up not only because it's just an awesome Commander card that everyone really should have a copy of if you play Commander, but also because this card does see at least a little modern play, and this week we had a reveal, Niv Mizzet Reborn, which would certainly play well with this card and would encourage you to play multicolor spells. Sword of Feast and Famine, this is the one for Mirrodin Besieged. It goes up $1.13 to $37.95. This has been a very popular Commander card really ever since we saw Nagila the Blade Blossom come out in Battle Bonds, but it does see a little legacy play too. Seize the Day, this is the one from Ultimate Masters, going up $1.20 to $2.20, and yep, you guessed it, another card that's going to play well with Feather. Oracle of Moldiah goes up $1.21 to $35.13, another Commander staple here. I mean, this thing goes up all the time. Maybe there is some correlation with cards that interact with lands that were revealed this week, though. Fell the Mighty from Commander 2017, and this goes up $1.25 to $4.98. And yeah, it feels like the Feather is maybe the new Teysa Karlov. This is moving because of Feather. Land Tax from Battle Bond, another great Commander card, up $1.27 to $25.99. Halfdane, another one of these reserve list gold legends, up $1.27 to $34.03. Aetherflux Reservoir goes up $1.33 to $5.24, a very popular Commander card here. People are working this into the Feather builds as well. We also saw another card that was revealed yesterday, actually, that does play well with this too in Commander, and that's Bond of Discipline. Sword of Light and Shadow from Darksteel goes up $1.33 to $28.79. This sees legacy play too, but also a good Commander card. Some people have been playing these to try to deal with the Teysa decks out there. Perforos, God of the Forge, goes up $1.37 to $24.01. Another popular Commander card. This has been on our list 2 weeks in a row now. Survival of the Fittest. This is maybe more of a vintage card, but some people do play this with like Muldrotha and Commander, so I threw it in here. Up $1.58 to $88.78. This is on the reserve list, but it did get a reprinting as a Judge promo before they changed that rule. Lux Cannon goes up $1.73 this week to $8.09. Of course, colorless decks have been popular in Commander, but this will also play well with Proliferate. Gate to Phyrexia, this is on the reserve list. It goes up $1.74 to $39.21. This has seen a little additional play recently in Teysa Karlov builds. Animar, Soul of Elements. Commander goes up $1.31 to $13.79. Masters 25 goes up $1.80 to $13. Very, very popular Commander. Gwendolyn de Corsai, another one of these reserve list gold legends cards. This goes up $1.95 to $104.54. Primal Vigor. This goes up $2.01 to $23.70. Another card that will play well with Proliferate, and because of the new cards coming out, it's got some people trying to grab it. Also, green cards have been popular recently in Commander. Over the last few months, there's been a lot of great additions to the color. Braid of Fire, another card that is going to be in some of those Feather builds. This goes up $2.06 to $19.95. Spellseeker. Tutor effects have been hot lately. This one goes up $2.25 this week to $8.98. This will also sometimes show up in Legacy Food Chain. Norwood Priestess, another really solid green Commander card, goes up $2.63 to $39.99. Queen Marchesa, another wildly popular Commander card, although this does see a little legacy play in 4-color loam. It goes up $2.81 this week to $35.99. Transmute Artifact, another solid Commander card, but an expensive one. This one is on the reserve list. It goes up $2.84 to $161.45. Another gold, the reserve list Legends card. Angus McKenzie goes up $3 to $190.99. Good Pillow Fort cards add to those decks. Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite. 2 copies. Iconic Masters up $1.87 to $19.95. Modern Masters 2015 up $3.31 to $22.55. This sees play in Legacy Reanimator, but also a card that crosses over into Commander. Chandra's Ignition. This goes up $3.32 to $4.20, and you can probably guess why by now. Another card moving because of Feather. Last Chance up $3.99 to $16.34. This is the one from Portal. This doesn't see a ton of Commander play necessarily, but I do see it played with like Final Fortune and Chance for Glory, and some tricks to kind of stop yourself from losing the game. It's kind of a fun build. Another hot tutor with Cruel Tutor going up $4.59 to $42.99. One more Gold Legends card that's on the reserve list. It is Hazan Tamar going up $7.95 to $179.95. You know this one, Mana Crypt. It's been very popular recently. Great vintage card, great commander card. Eternal Masters goes up $8.59 to $237.56. The original media promo goes up $43.52 to $242.50. All right, let's move to our Pauper Spotlight. First card is Swirling Sandstorm, up 10 cents to $1.23. You'll find this in Grixis or Is It Control builds. And you knew it had to be there for you Mono Black Pauper players. It's Oubliettes. Arabian Nights A copy goes up $1.41 to $34.42. The Arabian Nights B copy goes up $1.56 to $33.62. The B copy is the one that is pictured there. The casting cost is a little brighter, a little easier to read than the A copy. Okay, one card for our premium spotlight. There's a lot of cards moving, but I don't like to talk too much about foils because they can be easily manipulated, and sometimes the online sales data is misleading, but I wanted to throw this at you. The card we talked about earlier, Eerie Interlude, and of course it was moving because of Feather. Keep an eye on these cards that are being played in the Feather Commander builds that are in foil because many of them will be moving if they haven't already started to move. Here's an example. The pre-release foil going up $1.57 to $4.76, definitely some room to grow there. The regular Shadows over Innistrad foil goes up $6.23 to $7.98. So overall, there's activity definitely in these foils that you might play with Feather. That concludes the Market Watch, and remember, this week we will continue to cover those previews for War of the Spark as they come out. There's a whole third week of previews coming, so stay tuned, but until next time, hey, thanks for watching, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page, as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.